In this video, we're going to go over how to simplify a fraction or a division problem when there are radicals in the numerator and denominator. This one might look a little trickier simply because I have that radical expression in the denominator and one in the numerator. But it's all about the process. So the first thing I want to focus in on is what is my conjugate for the denominator? It's always the focus. So we change just that minus to a plus. Everything else stays the same. Now I can set up the actual math problem. Right? So we're going to do 3 plus 2 square root 5 over 2 square root 6 minus 3. That's the original problem. And now I multiply both the numerator and the denominator by this conjugate. Multiplying the denominator is always a nice place to start because it shouldn't take very long because we have the difference of two squares patterns that we can use. So to use that, we're just going to go 2 square root 6 times 2 square root 6. 2 times 2 is 4. Square root 6 times square root 6 is 6. All right. And then it's the difference of the squares, so we minus, and we go to the second value. Here it's 3. 3 squared is 9. Now I can simplify this. 4 times 6 is 24, minus 9, and that is 15. The numerator, though, is going to take a little bit more work because I can't use a pattern. What I can use is one of the strategies we learned about multiplication at the beginning of the year. You could choose distribution or FOIL. I prefer the tabular method, so that's what I'm going to use. So 3 plus 2 square root 5. And this is just using the the numerator, sorry. And we're going to multiply it across 2 square root 6 plus 3. All right, and that is from right here. We're just going straight across in this multiplication. Draw in my table. All right, and I'm going to use the rules that I know about multiplying with radicals. 3 times 2 square root 6, it's outsides with outsides, insides with insides. So 3 times 2 is 6, and I bring that square root 6 along. I move on to the next box. 2 square root 5 times 2 square root 6. 2 times 2 is 4. The square root of 5 times the square root of 6 is 30, or the square root of 30. Move on to the next row. 3 times 3 is 9. And then 2 square root 5 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And I bring that square root 5 along. Of all of these values, the only one that looks like maybe you could simplify it would be the square root of 30. But the square root of 30 actually does not simplify. If I look at the numbers, 6 squared is 36, that's too much. 5 squared is 25, that's not a factor of 30. 4 squared is 16, again, not a factor of 30. 3 squared is 9, not a factor of 30. And 2 squared is 4, not a factor of 30. So I can't actually simplify any of these values. So I just bring them on out. 6 square root 6 plus, since it's positive, 4 square root 30 plus 9 plus 6 square root 5. And I just pull this out a little longer. And I've now multiplied my numerator. I'm going to just rewrite the final answer at the bottom, just so that it's a little bit more organized and clear. So 6 square root 6 plus 4 square root 30 plus the 9 plus 6 square root 5. And it's all over 15. Remember, that was our simplified solution for the denominator because I did the 4 times 6 minus 9. And ultimately, that gets me 15. So this is how we address a problem that has radicals in the denominator and has a radical expression in the numerator.